Understand multiple interrelated aspects of a building's performance parameters before construction. Insight extends the capabilities and value of the Autodesk AEC collection through unprecedented levels of cloud-based performance analysis. Discover Autodesk Insight and discover all the power of the AEC collection. Maximize your BIM workflows with Autodesk Insight, a powerful cloud-based analysis tool in the AEC collection. Autodesk Insight helps you improve energy and environmental performance throughout the building lifecycle by letting you integrate energy analysis, lighting analysis, and solar analysis for a holistic approach to building performance design. Make smarter design decisions using Insight's cloud-based analysis tools to iterate and optimize project parameters during the design phase. For example, use Insight to automatically create energy models from Revit, from concept to detailed design, access analyses and visualizations directly in the modeling environment. Visualize and interact with key performance indicators, factors, ranges, and specifications with real-time cause and effect feedback. Quantify and visualize heating and cooling loads. Perform sun and shadow studies to accurately see how lighting conditions affect your model. Simulate daylighting and glare. Access solar PV performance analysis quickly within design environments. Now you can clearly see and thoroughly understand multiple interrelated aspects of a building's performance parameters before construction. Insight extends the capabilities and value of the Autodesk AEC collection through unprecedented levels of cloud-based performance analysis. Discover Autodesk Insight and discover all the power of the AEC collection. Maximize your BIM workflows with Autodesk Insight, a powerful cloud-based analysis tool in the AEC collection. Autodesk Insight helps you improve energy and environmental performance throughout the building lifecycle by letting you integrate energy analysis, lighting analysis, and solar analysis for a holistic approach to building performance design. Make smarter design decisions using Insight's cloud-based analysis tools to iterate and optimize project parameters during the design phase. For example, use Insight to automatically create energy models from Revit, from concept to detailed design, access analyses and visualizations directly in the modeling environment. Visualize and interact with key performance indicators, factors, ranges, and specifications with real-time cause and effect feedback.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we'll be starting in a few minutes. Thank you for the patience.
Simulate daylighting and glare. Access solar PV performance analysis quickly within design environments. Now you can clearly see and thoroughly understand multiple interrelated aspects of a building's performance parameters before construction. Insight extends the capabilities and value of the Autodesk AEC collection through unprecedented levels of cloud-based performance analysis. Discover Autodesk Insight and discover all the power of the AEC collection. Maximize your BIM workflows with Autodesk Insight, a powerful cloud-based analysis tool in the AEC collection. Autodesk Insight helps you improve energy and environmental performance throughout the building lifecycle by letting you integrate energy analysis, lighting analysis, and solar analysis for a holistic approach to building performance design. Make smarter design decisions using Insight's cloud-based analysis tools to iterate and optimize project parameters during the design phase. For example, use Insight to automatically create energy models from Revit, from concept to detailed design, access analyses and visualizations directly in the modeling environment. Visualize and interact with key performance indicators, factors, ranges, and specifications with real-time cause and effect feedback. Quantify and visualize heating and cooling loads. Perform sun and shadow studies to accurately see how lighting conditions affect your model. simulate daylighting and glare, access solar PV performance analysis quickly within design environments. Now you can clearly see and thoroughly understand multiple interrelated aspects of a building's performance parameters before construction. Insight extends the capabilities and value of the Autodesk AEC collection through unprecedented levels of cloud-based performance analysis. Discover Autodesk Insight and discover all the power of the AEC collection. Maximize your BIM workflows with Autodesk Insight, a powerful cloud-based analysis tool in the AEC collection. Autodesk Insight helps you improve energy and environmental performance throughout the building lifecycle by letting you integrate energy analysis, lighting analysis, and solar analysis for a holistic approach to building performance design. Make smarter design decisions using Insight's cloud-based analysis tools to iterate and optimize project parameters during the design phase. For example, use Insight to automatically create energy models from Revit, from concept to detailed design. Access analyses and visualizations directly in the modeling environment. Visualize and interact with key performance indicators, factors, ranges, and specifications with real-time cause and effect feedback. Quantify and visualize heating and cooling loads. Perform sun and shadow studies to accurately see how lighting conditions affect your model. Simulate daylighting and glare. Access solar PV performance analysis quickly within design environments. Now you can clearly see and thoroughly understand multiple interrelated aspects of a building's performance parameters before construction. Insight extends the capabilities and value of the Autodesk AEC collection through unprecedented levels of cloud-based performance analysis. Discover Autodesk Insight and discover all the power of the AEC collection. Maximize your BIM workflows with Autodesk Insight, a powerful cloud-based analysis tool in the AEC collection. Autodesk Insight helps you improve energy and environmental performance throughout the building lifecycle by letting you integrate energy analysis, lighting analysis, and solar analysis for a holistic approach to building performance design. Make smarter design decisions using Insight's cloud-based analysis tools to iterate and optimize project parameters during the design phase. For example, use Insight to automatically create energy models from Revit, from concept to detailed design. Access analyses and visualizations directly in the modeling environment. Visualize and interact with key performance indicators, factors, ranges, and specifications with real-time cause and effect feedback. Quantify and visualize heating and cooling loads.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we are just starting with the webinar. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the online event, design lecture by Professor Dr. R. Chandrashekhar. Shweta, can you please confirm my voice is clear?
Yes, Farhan.
So this event is basically a part of our main design competition series, Design Advance, and you can find out about that more on designadvance.in. Our knowledge and technology partner is Autodesk, and our competition partner is Ethos. So these are the program details. So we'll start with an opening session by Mr. Chakrash Jain. Then Ms. Shruti will explain about the competition. Then we'll have a short audience poll, and then we'll have Dr. R. Chandrashekhar to take up the design lecture. After that, we'll have the question and answer session. I request everyone, so whenever you have a question, please mention that question in the Q&A box. After Dr. Chandrasekhar's lecture, I will read out those questions to sir and he will answer that. And then we'll have a vote of thanks in the end. Okay, so starting on, um, so I would like to invite Mr. Chakresh Jain. So Mr. Jain is chairman of board at Capricot Technologies Private Limited, and he did architecture from IIT Kharagpur and started his AutoCAD training and consultancy services just after graduation. So over to you, Chakresh sir.
Thank you, Farhad. Let me share my screen.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Let me know if once my screen is clear.
It's visible, sir.
Okay. So first of all, I like to welcome Dr. Chandrasekhar. He's a known name amongst all architects, and so thank you, sir, for coming and sharing your thoughts in this webinar. And of course, we are conducting this design idea competition, and Shruti is going to talk more about that in a while. So first of all, I like to take this opportunity to quickly talk about our company Capricot, and then what is the challenges which current construction industry is facing. So as a company, so I'll not take much time. So we will like to hear and more from Dr. Chandrasekhar, not from us. So just a quick update, more than 30 years we've been serving the construction industry with various technology solutions. And today we have more than 20,000 customers like yourself across the country. And we are serving them through our 250 strong and inspired team members. So we are Autodesk partner, and that's what we primarily do. And in the construction industry, everyone knows AutoCAD, and of course today everyone is aware about BIM. And then we also have a lot of other complementary solutions which we felt were required to fill that space wherever there were gaps. So our organization is governed by 4 board members. I'm based out of New Delhi, and then we have other 3 members: Mr. Venkatesh out of Bangalore, Mr. Sharad based out of Mumbai, and Mr. Ramjesh based out of Hyderabad. So just a quick thoughts I like to share about the challenges which are being faced by the current construction industry. And of course, the current pandemic, which we are fortunately as a country coming out quite well now, highlighted those challenges. And so the biggest challenge, of course, is the communication. So I'll come to that in a while, but let me talk from a customer perspective. So we talk a lot about pre-industrialization area when the entire work was done by hand. And we know that work was very good in aesthetics, and we do still appreciate that how good that work was done in pre-industrialization. But then the quality was also good, but then of course the cost, function, and reproduction was not very high in that. And what industrialization did, that it brought us a lot of very good products in terms of functionality, affordability, and they could be reproduced in mass so that all of us could use. But today we know, as an architect and as a designer and part of the construction industry, our customer actually demands, rather not expect, but demand best of everything. So that's the first challenge we are facing as an industry, that our customer expectations are very high from us. But of course, that doesn't mean they're going to pay us that much well more for achieving all this. So we have to deliver all this with a lower fee and in the lesser time also. So that's the fallacy we have. But the second challenge is, now we will say, okay, to be able to do that, I need to increase my efficiency. But the studies have shown that the entire construction industry efficiency has been going down in last 50, 60 years. Whereas if you compare like the blue line of manufacturing, they have been able to improve their efficiency. But the construction industry is going down in terms of efficiency. So one side, the expectations are high. second side, we are not able to improve our efficiency. The third challenge in the construction industry is the diversity of the construction industry. And this is what has been like kind of highly amplified with the current pandemic. So construction industry has been identified as the most diverse industry. So each blue dot, what you see on the screen, is probably a separate consultant or a separate contractor, subcontractor, specialized, then the owners, then the funding agency, then the approving government agency. So this is one of the most diverse industry, and the communication gaps are one of the very big problem of the industry. So the question which comes that what is the solution? And from information technology perspective we look at, we see a very low adoption of information technology tools and methods and the processes in the construction industry. And one of the things which manufacturing industry was started standardizing processes, and that's how they were able to improve their production efficiency, and which has not happened in the construction industry. We are today still one of the lowest spender. In fact, many times people say construction industry spend as much as an agriculture guy or a hunting guy spends for information technology. So we are at par with them. So that's the amount of information technology or the spend we have on that. So, and therefore the current pandemic also highlighted that without using digital platform, we will not be able to mitigate all these challenges. And so today, of course, as an organization, Capricorn, this is what we do. This is what we specialize in. We have multiple solutions. Now, what we are presenting on the screen is only a kind of a representation, but that's not all. But it is right from your initial program creation to developing the design, then to be able to do detailing, fabrication, pre-construction. At all the stages of the construction, we have various set of softwares and the tools available which will help you in improving your efficiency. And so there are a lot of software available, and one very important thing which I like to highlight is the collaboration tools, the BIM 360 banner which we have. So they will bring all these diverse people together onto one single platform where we can share our design document and any information related to that project. So without taking much time, because today we are here to hear Dr. Chandrashekhar, so I'll stop here. I'm just throwing some challenges. I know today we are not going to get answer, but what I wanted to highlight was that we have to think through what are the solutions for these challenges and work on them. So thank you very much. I'll hand over back to Farhad for this.
Thank you, sir, for highlighting the current issues in the construction industry. I would like to invite Miss Shruti from Ethos India to give us the information about the Design Advance competition. So let me share my screen. Okay, so Shruti, now over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Farhad. Hello, everyone. A very good afternoon. I am Shruti from Ethos. So the COVID-19 pandemic, which has disrupted the world since almost a year now, has brought on this imposition of a stringent lockdown in March last year. In the initial months, we saw the mass exodus of migrants take the center stage. With their worsened socioeconomic situation and lack of decent living conditions, their stories of suffering suddenly became the face of all our Indian cities. I'm sure at some point, all of us questioned ourselves as to how we can contribute to improve their living conditions. So, with this background, Design Advance, Livable Spaces for the Nowhere People, has been launched by Capricorn in association with Autodesk and Ethos. This is a call for interventions to design livable spaces for our migrant workers, spaces that are adaptable, sustainable, resilient, and innovative. So the competition is open to all undergraduate and postgraduate students of architecture. We're also looking at graduates of 2020 for this. And we're looking for solutions which are human-centric with specific design approaches at a macro and a micro level to promote dignity, security, and safety of all such nomadic residents in an urban context. You can register and check the design brief and other details on the website, designadvance.in. We hope you participate and help us spread the word about this call for ideas. Thank you. Over to Farhad.
Thank you, Shruti, for giving the brief about the competition. So I'm sure that everyone is waiting to hear from Dr. Chandrasekhar. But before that, one quick audience poll to set the tone, and we'll see the background of the participants. We have a lot of people already joined here and still joining. So I'm going to run a quick poll. So the question is going to be, what is your background? Basically, the professional background. So the poll will be open only for 30 seconds. So I'm launching it. So I would request everyone, please take part in the poll so that Dr. Chandrasekhar also gets the idea about the composition of the participants, and he can address the students, the architects, the engineers, or maybe people from the other profession. So I'll be ending poll in 5 seconds. Please. Okay. So I'm ending the poll. Thank you. So I'll quickly share the results. So as you can see, 31% are the students of architecture, 31% are the professional architects, 31% are engineers, and remaining are 6%. Wow, this is a very, I mean, fair poll. I mean, 31, 31, 31. Okay, so I'm ending the poll results. Thank you for polling. Okay. So now let me have the honor to introduce Professor Dr. R. Chandrasekhar. So Dr. R. Chandrasekhar is an architect, graduated from Sir J.J. College of Architecture in 1975. He holds a PG diploma in health facilities planning from SP Delhi, WHO Fellow of Medical Architecture Research Unit MARU from South Bank University, London. He holds a doctoral degree from BITS Pilani in the field of medical architecture. In fact, he is the first PhD degree holder in this field in India. He participated in building design and engineering approach to airborne infection control at Harvard School of Public Health, Boston, Massachusetts. He's the chairman at IGBC for Green Healthcare Rating. He's a consultant at World Bank. He's a consultant at Indo-UK Institute of Health. He's a peer review consultant at NMDC Limited. He's a former chief architect with Ministry of Health for Government of India. He's a visiting professor at London School Bank University, UK, vice president of Research Foundation of Hospital and Healthcare Administration. He's a vice president of Indian BIM Association, and he's a vice president of Institute of Hospital Engineers since inception. So we are really honored to have you, sir, on the board. So over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, and good evening to all of you. I'm just sharing my presentation. You're able to see?
Yes, sir.
You are able to see it in presentation mode?
No, sir. It's in the PPT mode.
Is it okay?
Yes, and now it's in presentation mode.
Okay. So today we are going, just now Ethos, who has Shweta had explained, in fact, Shruti has explained how they have arrived at the competition parameters, and a very interesting word they used, livable space for nowhere, and now they say now here. So the same word, you can say word play, but it is a fact. They were from nowhere and now they are here. And we had faced a lot of problem during pandemic. We have seen them, how the things are. Migration and migrated workers is not a new thing. It's been happening. But new lessons were learned during the pandemic. Now the problem is, once upon a time, we were very much keen, and this kind of a migration was happening because of the skills at different locations. As you are aware, in Delhi we have a Akshardham temple. Akshardham temple was built in stone where there is no steel or concrete or cement has been used. The skilled worker who are in the stone are mainly from Rajasthan area. Similarly, when you find some of the places where the construction labor, and then also it is the economics, and it is not only construction labor. You will find people who are the daily vendors, vegetable vendors, you will find taxi driver. So when variety of people are there, the challenge for architect is how to work out a habitable space for them. And as such, you have seen in our past life also, variety of people, and in the political parameter also. Long back, I remember, invariably, we want our domestic servant to be very close to our house. And that is how you will always find some slums created. Over a period of time, that slums will get regularized due to political pressure, and it may not be an organized area, and it will have all the related issues like the water, electricity, the waste disposal, and also will be a health hazard. Even the epidemic starts from such places. Live example is you have seen in Dharavi what has happened during the pandemic time. Dharavi is one of the largest slum in Mumbai, which is Asia's largest slum. And when this thing happened, at that time, we also think there are slum development board, there are government is thinking on a lot of things on this issue. But finally, the mix of so many things finally leads to an architect may be a free thinker, but when it gets influenced by the political and bureaucratic setup and everything, then there is a problem and that is a challenge. This time, this challenge has been enlarged to such a proportion that it has become a highlight of the issue. And you had seen how many people have just migrated and what was the kind of a communication, transportation, etc. And now I learned almost 50% of the people are back. The challenge is one more thing. We have different states with different culture and different language and different food habits and different style of living. The challenge is architect has to put these things together and how he creates a habitat which can be useful. At the same time, it should not be an eyesore. It should be merging with the urban scape. And that is how the biggest another challenge is how you dovetail all these other parameters which I'm going to discuss today. And I'll also tell you during the process, I'll also tell you the approach to your planning and methodology, though you have been taught in the college, but because I do a peer review at various states and I'm more into healthcare. So when I see, I feel sad when the architects are not working in the similar pattern what they have been taught. They just have some time. I also feel bad about the technology. It is somewhere I feel, is it overshadowing our creativity? Because I see, I have a ready-made CAD, drawings ready. I just try to play around with those blocks and create a master plan. So that becomes a problem. It is not responsive to the site. So therefore, today I would like to highlight even the approach and methodology so that those who know it, it will be a revision, or those who knew it but over a period of time has forgotten it will also be a an exposure. See, compassionate architecture is a very special term. Compassionate, generally we use this word in healthcare for geriatric care. Geriatric care means we do the hospital for elderly people, old age, where you need a compassionate approach in designing. Unfortunately, our architects, they are not the client centric. When they are designing a house for an individual, they will discuss with the family, they will understand their parameter, and then they will do it. When it comes to a public building or a building at large, there we feel the emotions are gone. That is why I'm starting with a quote. Well-designed spaces are not just a matter of taste or a question of aesthetics. You may find wonderful walkthrough, beautiful 3D of design. That's not the thing. They literally shape our ideas about who we are in the world and what we deserve. This is a John Kerry, who is a very good TED speaker, and he himself explained that when his child was born in an hospital where he couldn't see even when there is raining outside or there is a sunshine because natural light was not there. So he felt very sad and he told hospital people that you should have engaged an architect to do so. They said, yes, this was designed by an architect. And that was a very sad moment. He said, then he took that challenge. And when he started, how you have to talk to, have their emotions, what they feel and how they live. That is where the importance of compassionate architecture comes in. We remember forwarding number of messages or receiving number of messages in WhatsApp and your social media that your parents held your hand for such a long time. Now it's your turn to hold their hand. So it is the same way. The compassionate word is slowly vanishing. Now, as a student who are working on the design thing, design concern should for whom it is built for. We always try to work it out and take our own, whatever is our exposure level, and we try to take a decision. First is health and well-being. Wherever these habitats are made, do you take care of their health part in terms of and well-being, so that if you give a healthy environment, the cheerfulness in this thing will be more appreciated. And that is where the importance comes on this thing. Now, designed to foster dignity. This is literally a forgotten word. Now, dignity of that individual is very important. You have to understand for whom you are designing. You design your way and your way of living. I remember during my college days, how we say the college institution bring people together with the different ideas. In the very first year when a design class was there, a small bungalow design was, to start with, a exercise was given to all the people. I could see, based on the exposure of an individual student, the design emerges. I'll give you a small example. A boy or a student who stays in a rented premises in some chawl or some common area. Chawl is in Mumbai, where you find all the rooms connected with one corridor, and a corner you will find the amenities like toilet or other thing. So people used to use a common toilet. and sometimes they queue up. These are the old timer, these are the clear problems. And there is a boy who stays somewhere in Juhu area in a Bangalore. Now when the design comes in, this boy who has seen this, his design element will be, he will work out a toilet somewhere in the corner with a separate WC, separate bath, wash basin, this, because that is his exposure. And the boy who has stayed in Juhu, he is making a toilet with a bathtub and with a shower area, and so that is why institution bring these two people together and bring them to a common platform. That is what is the role of an institution. We always say, as much as you have a exposure, you enjoy. So same way, when you design this, dignity of those migrant labor are to be kept in mind. Never ever. I recently saw one more circulated one video. They say, in your house, you keep separate plate for your servant, separate cup and mugs for them. Why? And the same person, when he is in Gurdwara, in a langar, or in a temple, he is sitting there, and he's sitting next to each other. Nobody knows who is he. They pick up all the common plate. So why is such kind of a dissimilarity? This is why I have given importance to the word dignity. Please make sure when you are making all your element, whether the construction element, the construction technology, you think of everything. Imagine the person who is going to be part of that area. Then that will lead to compassionate spaces where you will find a community living. How you remember our olden days where everybody was supporting each other. Even now, a small incidents happen, there are people come together to help each other. These all happens only when you have the habit of staying together and helping each other. In fact, I remember in Punjab, they used to use Sanja Chula, even a common kitchen. These kind of a community spaces, bringing them together, these are all very important things. And these elements, in these modern days, we have to bring in. Remember, architect has a great role. You can do the transformation and even the social change by designing, but at the same time, the stages of designing should go slowly and steadily. Remember when Corbusier designed the Chandigarh, at that time, initially there was a huge criticism because there was a drastic change. The kitchen the ladies in the kitchen used to sit, squat and prepare the food, and they were suddenly given a platform, kitchen platform. That was a shocking thing for them. But it takes time. So therefore, designing compassionate spaces are key to your design. Perception of space and the elements in our environment. You have to dovetail what are the kind of elements in environment and who are feeling comfort to that. And those kind of elements are built into your spaces, and the material which you use, the texture and the color and the parameter, are they used to? Somebody told me while designing hospital, he said, sir, it is better that all the wards should be air conditioned. I told, when you are making a hospital in district hospital and in the remote area, a person feels homely when he can open up the window and have a cross ventilation. Whereas the moment you have that controlled environment, do you expect that fellow is spending other part of his life in a air-conditioned space? So that kind of a feeling. And also, as a healthcare infection control point of view, I always say, when SARS hit the country, cross-ventilated ward never had any infection, whereas air-conditioned spaces had. And COVID has given an alert again. That is how we say connect with nature. Perception of spaces and the elements are, you have to connect with the environment. translating emotional and social need into built form. Sometimes you can observe what way they sit, squat, how they watch, read, or how they eat. A person who is comfortable sitting and eating down, suddenly you cannot give something. So you have to have variety. So you have to think of all. And remember one thing, we always bring in a culture of the place. But the problem is, here you have a mixed, and that is what we call it, अनेकता में एकता, यही भारत की विशेषता. So there will be variety of people, and you must have seen in our earlier days the NCC camp and scout, the different variety of people coming together, they exchange culture, they exchange, understand, and respect each other. So that kind of thing will be coming only when translating emotional and social need into built form. What is his need at that time? He is daily working and tired and comes back, and how he is going to handle this? When he comes home, how he is going to feel the habitat more conducive and comfortable to him? And translate multidisciplinary insights and integrate them. This is exactly I was telling. Multidisciplinary. I had told you, you are finding a person who is a construction worker, who is finding a thelawala, you are finding a taxi driver. Somebody is going to do the night duty. He'll come and sleep in the daytime. There is also a possibility that you may require some accommodation which will be more like a transit. I just want to come, stay there for some time and go away. So I'm not going to remain there all the time. So it is a rotationary. Then you have to also find out, when you are working on such habitat, how much percentage you should cater for such kind of a thing. What is the, this is what, and where you are building. So accordingly, you will take a call on that. And humanitarian design, human-centric design, it is the key. Please make sure that when you are designing something for someone, I remember being a government official, I used to stay at government accommodation, and I was also a part of a resident welfare association, general secretary in that area. And the ladies there used to always comment, this building is designed very nicely looking outside. Inside, ask we ladies how the kitchen is designed, how the room is. It is absolutely non-functional, this and that. So that is why when you are designing an individual house, you are able to interact with the people. But when you are doing any mass housing or any such habitat, your study goes much deeper. Otherwise, with your limited knowledge, when you make it, you have made it, things will work, and you may claim in your CV that I had done such a major work, but in actual, that is not a very successful one. It will be very happy situation when you go and revisit that place and you find a smile in everybody's face and comfort they feel about, and they try to tell you, I feel like at home. I am not feeling that I am a migrated person. So that will be a great achievement for you. Now, the kind of a design which we make, loose fit design. The concept of loose fit is to design with the larger spaces that can be used for more than the minimum function originally proposed. Flexibility is very important. That is why the loose fit design parameter, whenever you are designing, think of these in a very proper way, that how this loose fit design and this minimum function, whatever has been done, tomorrow I change the function, still my design works. Then adaptable flexibility. Spaces can be designed to adapt to multiple uses. Today, you have planned it as a social well-being space. Tomorrow, that becomes a cafeteria. Day after, that becomes a multi-purpose hall or maybe a cultural place. So these spaces has to be planned very precisely so that they can have a multiple uses. Then convertible flexibility. Whatever today you conceived with your idea and your study, not necessarily it is going to be remain static. So another type of flexibility is when with a relatively low effort, time and cost, a space can be converted to another use. Number of time it happens. Why I am raising this, that you can always choose a site to convert a brownfield project. That means you picked up some left out school or some premises which you find that it is available, and I can remodel them with a minimum cost, and I can produce something unique and a real shelter worth and not spending much. That means that becomes very, and tomorrow the same thing is to be converted for any other parameter, still with low effort, time and the cost, a space can be converted into another use. Now, resilient. This is very important, strong enough to deal with illness, shock, change. Now you are seeing these people have undergone very, different parameter. How your habitat is going to take help, create such an environment that will be helpful, and they will be feeling very, very comfortable on that. Then evidence-based design, that is, we call it healing architecture. Connect with nature. Nature is a great healer. When there is enough natural light, enough sunshine, and I tell you, India is privileged country to have variety of weather. I remember when I was a student there in London, I landed somewhere in the month of January 4th. Generally, in the European country, Christmas to New Year, everything is closed and everything opens somewhere on 4th or 6th of January. When I landed, at that time it was a cold, and you won't believe, for 22 days I didn't see sun. And when I saw a sunny day, everyone is coming out and enjoying and saying, what a sunny day, what this thing. Now imagine how fortunate we are. And I realized that only when I went there and I couldn't see. Here, when we see in abundance, we don't care. So evidence-based design is where you bring in natural light, you bring in good cross ventilation and healthy living. Remember all this which you study in your Vastu and everything, and go and study the old village houses, how well ventilated, and these all leads to a healthy living on its own. So utilizing evidence-based design is one of the, or we call it healing architecture. So this is one parameter which should note. This impacts the mental health. Mental health, you must have seen a lot of depression cases. A lot of people, when they lose their job, they don't get the money or this thing, how depressed they are. In fact, in the architectural community, number of people approach me, sir, after pandemic, we have lost this thing. I have to pay EMI. I cannot even pay my rent. The amount of this thing burden I have, that kind of a problem. These people are suffering. How cheerful your environment is to take care these parameter of mental agony. Then create an innovative design, come out with something out of the box idea, not necessarily in the similar way. Why we have left it to students of architecture? You are full of innovative ideas. When you become in a regular commercial parameter, you are bound by so many bylaws and so many parameters, so that your thought process are limiting yourself for something. And also, you have a timeline, you have some tender to be submitted, you have to fill in, minimum price and that kind of a thing. So many compromises. But as a student, you are free to come out with your innovation. And let me tell you, if an innovation and something unique comes, this is where government is also thinking how, if at all the problem, they have come out with some laws and rules, etc. That is for the different parameter, that's more administrative. Tomorrow, if they are bringing, you remember in DDA and in other this thing, they always say, the builder, you must leave this much for EWS, that is economically weaker section area. Now, for a formality, we leave a piece of land and we do some habitat and just leave it like that. Maybe the innovative design which you produce will be a useful thing, which is already happening. Why not do it in a better way? So that is where your challenge for innovation comes in. Then safety, particularly for women and children. I don't have to elaborate more. Lot of related cases you have heard about child abusing or problem with the women. And even there are certain dharamshala or the chowdhuries or these places where such illegal activities also takes place. So your design is having an inbuilt parameter for safety for the women and children. That means it is not necessary that you have to only build it with the technology. You can dovetail everything. How you can raise alarm, and also remember, the people are, there may be a husband and wife, both may be going for work. There may be elderly, some parents will be there who may be staying there. There is a need for support, and there may be a small children whom they would not like to leave. Maybe you create a kind of a creche or something within the space is there, somebody is looking after, and that becomes his earning. So these are the possibilities. And how we can dovetail, I had recently done, when we had done one center for aging for elderly in Chennai. There what we thought, these elderly people, most of their children are away in somebody in the US or Europe, and they are left out in the elderly area. So why not have their multi-purpose area built in with the creche? Now, they feel as though they are playing with their grandchildren, and the love and affection they give it to those children who are left, those mothers who have left their children for during their work period. So the children also get, instead of any ayah or any attendant, shouting and misbehaving, here it is more affectionate. The grandparents kind of affectionate gets in, and even those grandparents whose their children or grandchildren are away somewhere, that vacuum is also filled. So this kind of a synergy, amalgamation works in a very better way. These are all design parameter, nothing great. We have to take a note. Security, this is very essential. Tomorrow you should not find that a fellow who has brought his earning with a great this thing, next day you find somebody has taken away. Luckily, thanks to digital world, these laborers have now understood how to do it, banking, even the payment through digital, Paytm and so many other parameters. So that way, the security aspect will have a different kind of this thing, but you may have in your design inbuilt some arrangement where anybody wants to keep anything secured, how well it can be taken care, besides the security of belonging, even the security of the premises in totality. Integrate services, water supply, electricity, sewerage, you have to take care, because invariably the failure of happens because of this. And waste management. Waste management, now you have a recent example. So many farmers came, they are doing dharna, and they are all brought their own food, etc. For they said that we have kept it for another 5-6 months. But end of the day, where they go for their daily routine, this thing, they are shedding on excreta in neighborhood area. It becomes a big problem. I remember long back when such Kisan Morcha had come near the boat club, and they have spoiled the entire those pond area, which took government to clear it up. It was a challenge. So waste management is to be given equal importance, how the disposal of waste, how the management of waste, and easy to erect, eco-friendly, and economical structure. You have to work out an estimate. You may come up with wonderful idea, but if it has to be affordable. Government should say, if I multiply and make a number of places if I want to build, or even any real estate developer who want to take your design and use it for this economically weaker section area where he want to build it for his labors, etc. How eco-friendly materials are being used, how easy to erect and dismantle, relocatable, that should be your one of the criteria. And economically is very much, because you remember first thing in India anybody asks is what is the price. That is how when Chinese landed here, they always came up with, they are more concerned that the Indian market is more concerned with the price. So give them a lower price, then the quality can be seen. Here, no compromise on quality. At the same time, the pricing has to be affordable, and always do a holistic approach. You are not only an architect, you are a social reformist also. You are an environmentalist also. You understand the rules, regulation of the government, and you are one of the citizen who is a concerned citizen for all these people. So that is what is your main idea. Use this energy saving, nowadays non-conventional energy. I'll just narrate you a small example. I was working with the non-conventional energy parameter for our health sector during 90s. And remember, that time it was not so popular. It was just coming up, and we had a Ministry of Non-Conventional Energy at that time. Now it is called renewable energy. Now, that time I visited Australia to study one particular village. That Australia has a very huge desert which is called Alice Spring. There we went to one village, and that village is totally on non-conventional energy. And I was wondering, I asked them, why you are totally on this? They said, the nearest electrical connection is 300 kilometers away. So we thought, instead of bringing all the electricity of cable to 300 kilometers, why not make a sustainable village ourselves? And there, even including air conditioner, everything was running. First time I learned hybrid system there. They say, I asked them, what is your energy mode? He said, we have a 300 sunshine day. So solar is a major source. We are having a wind energy and also bioenergy means out of waste. That means they were using the waste which is created in the village, also making energy out of it. And the plugging in can be through any source, whether it is solar, wind, or bio. That way, 24/7, you will never have any problem. I was amazed at that time, and I worked on the Health Ministry's program on the non-conventional energy, and we did a lot of places how we could carry on with this. So here, it should be self-sustainable. Today, you must have heard in IGBC, that is Indian Green Building Council, we give them a rating, which we call it silver rating, gold rating, platinum rating. Now we talk about net zero. That means you don't require energy from anywhere. You create your own energy and consume your own energy. So that kind of a self-sustaining models are available. A lot of advancement has taken place. How that is going to be effective, how you recycle the water, how you utilize the sewerage treatment plant or your septic tank, how are you going to, these things need to be given importance. And I'm happy that there is a group of people where engineering people are also there and architects are there. Remember, they are the two arms. Everyone has to go hand in hand. It is architect also has to have a knowledge of engineering, and engineering also has to have a knowledge of architectural parameter, so that the ultimate result comes out to be the best. So few quick slides to tell you how you should approach. Site selection. You have been asked to get a 3 hectares of site. You can choose a selector, but while choosing the location, make sure the geological phenomena of that area, whether it is an earthquake prone area, landslide prone area, tsunamis or hurricanes or flooding area, because your structure has to respond to these kind of a disaster. Try and understand this has a major impact. Therefore, you have to know the background. And connectivity and accessibility. How easily the people can come back to their place and go back. If he's going to spend money in transportation from going home to his place of work, probably that person will again put up a hutment somewhere nearby rather than coming over here, for the simple reason the amount he earns, he cannot spend more onto the transportation. So think of connectivity and accessibility, and climate analysis, very important. And remember, instead of going in for so many microclimate, it is easy for you is we have a hot and cold, humid, how that planning and designing happens. So when you are making any prototype also, how it is going to behave in different state and different climate with what fixed component and what variable component, which by changing, which can happen. So that if you are doing it in Leh Ladakh or Srinagar area or in Kanyakumari or in Odisha, Odisha has a huge wind problem. Somewhere you have a flooding problem. Somewhere you have a drought problem. Somewhere you have a landslide problem, hilly area. And also how you are going to, whatever material you are going to do, how the easy to transportation and this thing, you have to see that. Then respond to what kind of a population and the area where there is, and density. You have to take care of the density, because sometimes the habitats you make low density, low rise, high density, but at the same time the spaces have to be very well designed. Long back, HUDCO used to do this low-rise, high-density housing, so that you can have a very one-to-one community living, etc. Then your design should be climate responsive, and you have to see vegetation, the soil condition, how you are going to, your design will be taking note of that. Urban context is very important. You have to take where exactly you are building and what kind of a urban context and how it blends with the entire urban scape. And demography, you have to understand in this habitat, what kind of a percentage of male, female, children, or which we say dwelling unit for family. Are you making for one family, or is it going to be two families staying together? Is it going to be a dormitory? These kind of a studies, and you have to justify why it should be like this, so that we feel, yes, there has to be a mix of that. So the cluster for common spaces, these people, they are more interested in self-cooking, maybe a common cooking kitchen is there, or then there is a washing area, they have to dry the clothes. You will find you have made a wonderful habitat, but outside you will find all along the fencing, all the clothes are drying. So you have to consider where these kind of basics are addressed in your design, so that, and another thing also, you have to work it out in such a way that tomorrow one should not say, oh, I have given a big courtyard for drying, and morning I put the clothes, evening my clothes is missing. So these also becomes a design element, like we do the design, same kind of activity in hostel designing in various education institute. And you have to take care of these common spaces very nicely. Master planning, important, in which every design should have a planned zone. Zoning is very, very important, and in that, in the micro zoning and the macro zoning of the community spaces. Micro zoning is interrelationship with the each spaces, how they are connected, how they are going to be working out. And orientation, use the passive solar architecture, shading technology, all is available now, literature is available, so that your building is energy wise very energy efficient building. And spatial synthesis. Architect deals with space. So there has to be a very good synthesizing the spaces which you are provide, how they are flexible, how they mix up and merge with each other at the same time, how they become a private too. Structural system, what kind of a structure which you want to use, whether it is going to be a prefab or modular or pre-engineered or local construction, that is what your research and your backup is going to tell, that how speed. And also remember, sometime when you have a participatory approach, the people own the place, and then that becomes much more effective than that. And elements of infrastructure, what kind of a building material you should use, what is available. It is very easy. Sometime, with the help of World Bank or WHO, we get some building constructed in some place and the people don't respond and they don't agree for this for the simple reason it is alien to them. They are not participated. They think somebody had come and built it, so it is not theirs. So involve and choose the element of infrastructure in such a way so everybody feels the same. Robust utilities. In order to offer flexibility in design, the utility and communication infrastructure should be capable of expansion and upgrade. Tomorrow I want to do any expansion or any upgradation, it should be easily possible. So that element should be built in design. Then availability of utility and network capacity simplifies and dramatically reduces the cost of future project. Because since you have envisaged something, so when I do the future extension, the cost is not going to be that high. So that is one of the important points. Disaster, you have to be very careful. You must have an evacuation plan. Blending of open spaces and built spaces. How you can work out an escape route. How is the fire escape route? You have to have a very clear-cut thing because anytime anything can happen. And assembly area for easier evacuation. When such thing happens, how they are informed that where they should be getting together, and appropriate signages and wayfinding and display of evacuation route in different parts of the complex. So disaster management is also to be seen because based on that, you have to build your structure also, which will be earthquake related, fire related, or tsunami, or maybe even the wind. You have seen in Odisha, lot of windows have shattered, roof have flown away because of the tornado. So the place you choose, you have to take note of these parameters. And finally, the environment which you are going to create, a built environment that is conducive to well-being, is convenient and accessible, is confidential and private. Privacy has to be maintained. You should not allow anybody to have a breach in privacy in such area, and shows caring for family, is considerate of impairments and facilitates connection to the outside world, and it is safe and secure. Many thanks for your attention. Thank you very much. And anybody who is interested in any kind of a query, he can note down my email. He can get in touch with me in mail. I am 24/7 in this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the deep insight into the design parameters. And I'm sure that students and, in fact, the professionals will definitely use the knowledge imparted by you in their current project or the next upcoming project. So, and I got a lot of questions regarding the recording. So, you can, write an email to connect@capricorn.com and we'll share the recording. So I'll just share my screen. So moving on, so now we can start the Q&A session. So I would request everyone who has a question, please put your question in the Q&A box and I shall read that out to Dr. Chandrashekhar. And this is the email ID, connect@capricorn.com. If time is over, then you can mail your question or you need recording of the webinar. I took the notes myself. If someone failed to take the notes, then they can see the recording and take the benefit. Okay, so I'm getting a lot of questions. So let me just see.
I have seen 3 questions here.
Yeah. So, um, so one question is from Mr. Dinesh. So he's asking that architects design come first and then we start construction. Then how to divide the risk of design changes during the construction phase?
Okay. See, one thing you have to understand, if you have seen my slide, I had said master planning. Master planning is the one for that particular site, whatever is the best possible, it has to be well thought of. Phasing can be done as per the finances available. Imagine I am a healthcare architect and you know very well that every hospital always undergo expansion. You will always find. Now imagine all the aims which I have been involved in building for the Government of India, Ministry of Health. These are all 1,000-bedded hospital. The same way in Odisha, the 1,500 bedded, I am trying to make it to 3,000 bed. Same thing in the Lady Harding, we try to make 1,400 bed into 2,400 bed. So this expansion procedure will be always there. So an architect knows what is the ground coverage and the total plinth of area he can build it in that particular site. So he makes the complete master plan with the futuristic and only does the phasing. So that is why you can, as you said, how to divide the risk of design changes. Design changes, that is why the flexibility also works. When I take the structural grid in such a way, I can change whatever I feel like. Earlier days, those things are gone. At every 3 meter, you have a column, you have a frame structure. Now you see the pre-engineered structure. And the best example is our own country, Mohali, where we did a 10-story building in 48 hours. All the parameter, it was an assembly of all that. You do all your designing and activity can happen. And that is why nowadays lot of EPC contracts are happening. EPC is engineering, procurement and construction. That means design and build, so that it becomes much faster, decision makings are faster, and there is no too much of coordination between too many agencies. So all agencies work together under one. And as during Chakresh's presentation also, we could see these tools like BIM, Revit, this helps in a great deal in doing these kind of a flexible operation and changes. So tools and techniques are to be dovetailed with your design. That will be the best way to achieve it. Next.
So, sir, next question is from Mr. Amulya Gupta. Apart from the parameters just discussed, what are the special parameters for a mental health institution involving spaces for therapy?
See, mental health institution has a very specific requirement, because mental health institute has one biggest problem is there are a lot of suicidal attempt. That means your furniture, fixture, your door handle, your toilet, you never know where he is going to commit suicide. Therefore, that is a special lecture totally for a mental health. It is not a simple one. And at the same time, I'll also tell you 2 things. I had remodeled one mental health in Tejpur, where I have opened up everyone, excepting I have kept some mental cases who are, wild. They may bite somebody. They were kept in a room. Rest, I have opened up everything. I have made a beautiful landscape there, put a, music and other thing in a speaker, And in Tejpur, like places where a lot of deer, etc., you will find it there. That was all moving around. And you won't believe the cure rate was so fantastic. Now they face another problem that is called social stigma. The people are not ready to take them back. The society says he's a mental, we will not accept it. So government faces different challenge. So mental hospital is a different kind of a ball game. But only thing is, here what we are talking about is mental stress in terms of the kind of day-to-day problem he is facing. A mental, in totality, when he is mentally ill, he has to be treated in a specialized area. But here what I meant was the person who has lost the job, his wife was working, they also lost the job, they don't know what is the future tomorrow, how they are going to eat. That is where your community living may be helping each other, and they will say collectively, today you are not having job, I have, I'll support you tomorrow. If similar case comes to me, you support me. And this is how a community living spirit can be brought in your design element.
Thank you, sir. So next question from Ms. Meghna Sutaria. Sir, in this changing scenario, how much emphasis is on services in health sector? To what extent architecture is influenced by services in this particular sector?
The services are playing a major role. You tell me, whenever there is a failure, say there is a seepage or there is an overflow, they start blaming. Arey, who is the architect? That means because architect was the leader, he has to take that, choosing a right kind of a material, right kind of a design, right kind of a advancement in design. And remember one thing, that everything needs to be maintained. So that maintenance aspect is also to be taken note. It is not that any services will not go haywire. Problem with services is, now you are talking about healthcare, it is infection related. If your house is, or your room, or anyone which is loaded with seepage will have a lot of fungal problem, lot of issues related to your health. The air inside will get affected, what we call indoor air quality, and these all will have a problem. So services, whether it is in the healthcare, the HVAC, that is air conditioning, where I always say, don't just have a method of dilution, that is through air changes or pressurization or through filtration, but also have purification. So now Corona has taught us that don't trap the pathogen in filter, kill them by ultraviolet or different area. So whether it is air conditioning, whether it is water, whether it is your disposal, that is stormwater as well as your sewerage, all plays vital role, and they have to be start thinking from the day one. The first question should be, when you visit a site, where is the source of electricity? Where is the source of disposal? Where is the source of supply for my water? After that, you can start thinking and utilizing your contours and your site layout, you can take a note. Next.
Thank you, sir. So this one is from Ms. Pratishtha. So she doesn't have a question. So I don't have any questions, sir, but I want to thank you so much for giving such a great thinking topic, and I'm grateful for getting opportunity to attend this webinar. So this is a compliment. So I think rest of the questions, people please mail us.
One thing I like to add here, there is one question. Somebody has said, is anonymous, I would like to learn more about hospital design. Can you please suggest best sources? For them, one thing I can say, that in Symbiosis, we have already started a course on hospital design and planning and engineering, which is online course. So you can always join them. And for if you are already an architect and start doing something, and if you want to just in the initial stage you want to have, so I have authored a book on modern trends in planning and design hospital principle and practice, which is by JP Brothers publication, which is available and people are using it. And recently, in the next month, I'll be launching another book, planning and designing of multi-speciality in the healthcare facility, which will cover all kind of facilities, right from neuro, cardio, uh, ortho, or organ transplant or cancer, anything, name it in health facility, all is covered, including COVID. That what kind of a planning and designing parameter should be taken. So you can wait for that and always keep a watch on the social media. You will know when it is out and how you can book it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So moving on next. So these are the upcoming events. So today was design lecture 1. So also we had one workshop. So now the next workshop is on 12th Feb. Then we have another design lecture on 26th Feb. Then third workshop and third design lecture. So please stay tuned. You will get the information from Capricorn, or you can send early registration request at connect@capricorn.com. So now I would like to invite our Senior Vice President, Mr. Amit Jain, to give a vote of thanks to Sir and the participants.
Thank you, Farad. So thank you, sir. Dr. Chandrashekhar. I know and in fact, thank you all my participants here on this lecture given by Dr. R. Chandrashekhar, to all the students and all the professionals from architectural background and other related professionals. So I know Dr. Chandrashekhar personally for last 20 years, almost more than 20 years, in fact. And I still remember those early days of 2000 when he was so, he was so, what I should say, one-man army to push technology that time, early 2000, to push technology, computerization across his department or across his team. And literally he was driving across the health ministry design department. So I have seen him, wearing many hats over those years. He is an architect, he is an administrator, he is a professor. I would say he's a doctor because he has lived his entire life in medical or healthcare architecture, and he's a technologist. And last but not the least, he's a philanthropist. So, sir, I think it is our privilege and our fellow, listeners here on this call today. It's our privilege to listen to you, your experience. You have shared your experience, your, vital aspects of how to, infuse compassion, nature, technology, and come out with a, sustainable, livable, respectable, habitats for maybe the class of nowhere people. So our team has conceived this. Maybe I think every one of us has seen this plight of this particular section of our society during this harsh lockdown days, and our team with the people like you in the industry have conceived this idea of creating a concept or architectural event, design event, so that young creative minds can come out some innovative ideas around designing sustainable habitats for this important critical so part of our society. So thank you once again, sir, and all the fellow listeners here on this lecture. And we would take your maybe all the fellow participants here or the students, they may reach you as you shared your email ID. They can reach us to our team members, and we request all of the participants here to please participate in this design competition. Maybe you can, ask your fellow students, and friends in the industry community to please participate in this competition. Any idea from all the again participants here? Any idea, any advice will be most welcome, and we'll try to incorporate as and when it suits in our series of events in the part of main event. So thank you once again, sir, and we need your blessings for the entire life cycle of this design competition, which may go for next 3 months or 4 months.
Definitely, and it is a wonderful initiative you have taken.
Yes,
Wish
sir.
you all the best and all the best of luck to all the participants and who are participating in this competition. Let me see someone comes out, emerges out of the one of the best design, so that even we can take it to the policymaker or government and even the real estate people who have to do this. So this will be an helping hand for them. And that too, a lot of people will be using the tools and techniques provided by you, will also help them to be the design to be on the latest level. So that is it. So thank you very much and God bless you all.
Yeah, it's
Namaskar.
our pleasure, sir. It's our pleasure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.